I live in the Granby area of Liverpool. The Liverpool City Council are currently planning to regenerate the area which I live in particular this house. The Liverpool City Council have just received a £2 million grant from the Homes and Communities Agency in which to do up my house and all the other terraces along this row. The property I live here with my mum. She's a 67-year-old pensioner. This house is owned by Steve Biko Housing Association. As you can probably see from behind me, the house is in really, really bad disrepair. It's completely damp, severely damp. There's black mould growing in practically every room in the house. We've got no gas central heating, and we haven't had any gas central heating for years now. The gas fires we have at the property, we can't use them because they haven't been serviced since 2009, so they may be a little bit unsafe to use. We've been asking for the repairs to be done for a number of years, but Steve Biko Housing Association wouldn't do that because the council planned to demolish or refurbish whatever this property. So the landlords were probably thinking, well, it's a waste of money, so we've just been left to live in this property for 11 years in the condition that it's in. We did contact the Environmental Health in Liverpool about 6 years ago. They do have a duty to enforce an abatement notice to get the landlords to do the repairs, but the Environmental Health didn't want to do that. Being a department in the Liverpool City Council, that doesn't really surprise me, because had they have done that, that would have probably jeopardised Liverpool City Council's regeneration plans anyway. My mum and I did contact a solicitors in Bootle called James Murray Solicitors. They originally told us that we did have a good claim for housing disrepair, and we could probably get some damages too for all the furniture and clothes and possessions that have been damaged by the damp and the mould in the house. However, that dragged on for at least 3 years, and nothing ever happened. It never went to court. We were never satisfied. I then found out that James Murray Solicitors were colluding with Steve Biko's insurers, and then I later found out that the senior partner of that law firm, James Murray himself, is a proposed parliamentary candidate for the Liberal Democrat Party, and at the time that we originally went to the solicitors, the Liberal Democrats were the leaders of the Liverpool City Council. So it kind of made sense why James Murray Solicitors didn't want to help or didn't want to get this case into court, so as not to muck up the regeneration plans. Because I was so unhappy with James Murray Solicitors, I contacted the Liverpool County Court, where our housing disrepair case was supposed to be heard. They completely ignored me. They didn't listen to anything I said. They didn't reply, did nothing. They ignored me. I contacted the Legal Services Commission. Again, they ignored me. So I contacted the area director in Liverpool, and I did ask him to investigate. He didn't do that. He didn't do a proper investigation. The area director for Merseyside wrote back to me, and he told me that James Murray Solicitors were still representing my mum and I, even though by that time we'd told them that we were unhappy with the relationship and we'd ended any legal services with them. The area director still insisted, no, James Murray are your solicitors. They are representing you in the housing disrepair claim at court, and the Liverpool County Court will continue to communicate with James Murray Solicitors. 4 days after I received that reply from the area director, the Liverpool County Court kicked our housing disrepair claim out of court. I then heard a few days later from the Legal Services Commission, who knew that I was trying desperately to find other legal representation. They said that they were revoking our legal aid certificate because we hadn't informed James Murray Solicitors. We hadn't been giving them any information about the case, so they were revoking our legal aid certificate, which was a load of bull. Obviously, all them agencies I've mentioned were colluding with each other and were deliberately stopping my mum and I from pursuing any legal claim in court because it would muck up the Liverpool City Council's regeneration plans. My mum and I have come under quite a lot of harassment since we've been trying to get the repairs done, and since I've been writing off to everyone I can think of. In September of 2009, 3 police officers from Admiral Street Police Station called to my house in a huge yellow van with CCTV on the top of it. I've never been in trouble in my life. I've never had the police near my door, nothing. They came here accompanied with 2 social workers from Liverpool Social Services, a Kathy Smith and a John McCartney, I believe the names were. And they came here because apparently Steve Biko Housing Association had said that I had been in a physical altercation with my mum, which was completely untrue. My mum denied it, obviously, because we're really close. We've never even had an argument. And that allegation only came after I had been contacting or trying to contact solicitors, human rights organisations, and so on. The police treated me, and the social services, they treated me like I was a criminal in my own home. They refused to go from the doorstep. They bullied the way into our house, basically. My mum was a nervous wreck. She was a pensioner. She was really scared. She was frightened. They were just completely horrible about it. I did contact the IPCC about Merseyside Police's involvement. I did explain that I really strongly believed that there was corruption going on and that all agencies were colluding. They didn't do anything, never heard from them, no investigation. I contacted the local government ombudsman in York about Liverpool Social Services involvement. I never ever heard a reply from the ombudsman in York. Instead, I did receive a letter from a helpline, and a helpline, they didn't do any investigation, nothing, so that was completely unsatisfactory. I have been in touch with the Ministry of Justice in London, never heard anything from them. I wrote to them twice, and on the second time I wrote to them, I received a reply back from a helpline based in Manchester from a guy called John Smith, who said mine and my mum's human rights weren't being violated, even though we're living in a house which is unfit for anyone to live in, even though we've been stopped from pursuing any kind of legal action against Steve Biko Housing Association, even though we've been harassed and we've had all kinds of things happen to us by the Liverpool City Council. This guy was adamant that everything was above board, nothing had gone wrong, our human rights hadn't been violated. I don't know why he answered my letter anyway, because I'd never wrote to anyone in Manchester, I'd never wrote to a helpline, so why he was replying to my letter, I have absolutely no idea. I don't know why he even had the original letter and documents I sent out, why I was looking at that, I can't understand that at all. But anyway, according to this helpline, the Human Rights Commission, our human rights weren't violated. We've now been threatened with eviction by Steve Biko Housing Association. We were contacted, my mum was contacted by them on the 16th of December, and we were told we have to leave this property by March because the Liverpool City Council and their developers, Lovells and Plus Stain, are starting work in the road that I live in, and we've got to be out of here by March. And we were never informed before, even though my mum's a pensioner. I have a serious and rare neurological illness. Somebody could have told us beforehand, but they didn't. So now it's looking really unlikely that we're going to be out of this property in March. So we've been threatened with eviction. My mum's really, really upset about it. She's a nervous wreck, basically. Nobody's ever helped us with rehousing. We're being told if we don't get out of here by March, that the eviction will go through. So obviously nobody's helped or anything. I've got part 2 of this video, and that details most of the repairs, so you can check that out and see just how bad we're living, thanks to Steve Biko Housing Association and the Liverpool City Council, who were obviously only involved in their own plans, and they really couldn't care about people like me and my mum.